Yo, Spark Twain here. I realize I got this door behind me. It's probably not a good look. I'm gonna move the camera like a little bit. And I got the peanuts. It ain't good either way. I'm just gonna leave it with the door. So, it's day 3 of doing these addiction recovery vlogs. I don't really know what I'm doing, but if you keep coming back, you will gain some knowledge about addiction recovery. See, and I'm looking, I posted one yesterday. Nobody's watched it. It's been like 27 hours maybe. And that's quite discouraging. I published this in yesterday's video. When I write things and people don't read them, doesn't even faze me. But when I film things and people don't watch them, hits me right here. I don't know why, but sweaty as hell. I figure I should keep recording because, I haven't drank alcohol in like 2 years and 3 months. So I'm hoping to inspire people. I write a blog every single day. It's live at 8 a.m. I'm getting better at being on time. Sometimes it's like 5 minutes or 15 minutes late. I'm trying to get to writing them the night before. And eventually when I move back to California, I'm going to have to write them the night before because they'll come out at 5 in the morning at that point. So I can't wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and write them. Just not practical for me. So every day, asmr.community, that's a website, like instead of .com, it's .community. And every day I put a blog post out there. And today, I brought an idea to the table, which is something I've been thinking about for a while. But, it's a big idea, but it seems to me very practical. And that would be like, the idea is sobriety guided journeys internationally. Could do it nationally in the United States, but I'm not interested in doing that. And it's not the same thing. It's not as cost effective. I'm more than under the impression, I do the research. You can probably get rehab for like cheaper than this, but I know that there are a lot of people and families, especially families with more money who can afford to, as it were, throw money at the problem. Really hurt my shoulder this morning by running into something, and it's already like broken. I haven't even looked at it. It hurts a lot. But, keep on keeping on, I guess. And so, especially for people who are like ready to throw money at a project, at sobriety for their children, and I've heard stories of people who are like, the family sold their house to put their child through sobriety and it didn't work. They tell them like, oh, if you sign up for this program, it's going to work. And the fact of the matter is that Alcoholics Anonymous, the researchers say it works for 8 to 12% of people who attend the program. The longer you attend the program, the higher your success rate is. But I'm offering something different. And if you're interested in this, you're going to have to reach out to me, sparktwain@asmr.community. That's the email address. I imagine it will be literally years before I'm able to start doing this because I've been writing my daily blog for months and it's like, I don't know how to help people find it. I definitely know it can help people, but I gotta start reaching out to more like addiction recovery philosophies that already exist, But my program is so much different than other people's programs that it's like, I feel like a lot of people are uncomfortable with it, but the younger people especially, I know, align themselves with my values, and at the end of the day, like, I'm living my best life, and that's what I want to help you do. If you want to quit drinking alcohol, or doing heroin, or smoking meth, or smoking crack, or even if you're having, and so those are the big ones, and there's other hard drugs that exist, but those are the ones where it's like, if you're having a problem with those things, alcohol, meth, heroin, crack, this program is for you. And it's, first of all, I suggest you read the daily blog, but I want to do international sobriety journeys. So $5,000, and I'll take you on a 30-day trip, and we're going to go out of the country, either to India, Vietnam, we could go to Bali, Brazil, Jamaica. There's a lot of places in Latin America, Asia. For $5,000, we cannot go to Europe. I'll take minimum group of 5, maximum group of 20. I'll take people on a guided journey anywhere they want to go, but most people aren't going to be able to afford anything more than $5,000. And that might sound like a lot of money, but it's like the sobriety program is free at that point, and you're just paying for the international journey. I do have to support myself, of course, but I mean, seriously, you leave the country, you're going to spend a little bit of money when you do international traveling. And this is like a backpacking trip. I can't really carry a backpack, so it's not that intense of a backpacking trip. But I've been thinking about this for months at this point, and I believe it can really help people. So this is how I got inspired by this idea. Inspired to come up with this is, I quit drinking through many different methods, which we're going to talk about, and then I quit, July 4th, and then November 27th of that same year, several months later, I left my country for the first time. I live in the United States. I left for the first time, and I flew directly to Kolkata, India. I had never left the United States, and I went to Kolkata, India by myself, and I was there for like 4 weeks, and then I went to Thailand for 4 weeks, and Laos for 4 weeks, and Vietnam for 6 weeks, all in a row. So I spent 4.5 months out of the country. I had already not been drinking for, like 4 months or 5 months from July 4th to November 27th. I hadn't had any alcohol. So I don't know if this is necessarily for the people who are like if you just stopped drinking yesterday and you're not dry, you're not ready for this program. This is going to be hardcore. If you have a drink, I'm just going to send you on a plane home and keep your money. That's the end of that story. And because it's like 5 to 20 people at a time. I honestly think that like 10% of the people on Earth, definitely 10% of people in the United States at one point in time will suffer from a debilitating addiction. And that might not be 100% true when you include some of the other addictions. And like I write about how cannabis is addictive, but I still consume cannabis quite often, And that's not going to be part of the journey, but it could be. I mean, if we go to Jamaica, like I'm smoking weed, you don't have to, And this is the difference. I see these sobriety programs. I've been sober for, like I said, July 4th, 2018, and today is October 28th, 2020, and I haven't gone to one Alcoholics Anonymous meeting the entire time I've been sober. Not one. And I don't feel like I need that in any sort of way. At the end of the day, no matter how bad things get, I'm just not going to have a drink. And that's a tough thing. And I understand when you need more people. I watch ASMR videos. I write my blog every day. So that's the thing I do. Every single day I wake up at 5, sometimes 6 in the morning, and I write my blog. I'm addicted to writing that blog. I have to do it. It absolutely has to get done. And that's like, I just set my brain that way. I just turn the dials, and that's how it is. It took me a long time to quit drinking. It took me years, 7 years of consciously, no, not 7 years, 5 years of consciously, now it's been 7 years, since I really realized, like, I have a serious problem, and if I don't fix it, I'm going to die. That's the end of the story. Doctors are telling me that I drink a lot. I drink like a handle every 2 days, more than a lot of the alcoholics I know. But 5 years it took me of like, being sober for 3 months and then falling back off the wagon. Like I would be sober for 3 months and then drink one night or 2 nights in a row and black out and mess all sorts of things up, get in fights with people, wake up with a big hole punched in my wall. I'm like, why did I come home and punch the wall? I don't know. And my shoulder's broken, so I can't really do stupid stuff like punching a wall. It hurts me in new and strange ways. But traveling internationally not only solidified my sobriety, like it took me from like, can I really maintain this, to okay, I just did 4.5 months on the backpacking trail in Asia, and literally every single night after I left India, every night people were like going out drinking. And I didn't go with it. That's the end of the day. I mean, it was boring sometimes, but it wasn't boring because I'm like out of the country enjoying things. I spent a lot of time by myself. I went for a lot of walks. You know, I do like a 3 or 4 hour walk through Bangkok and other things like that. Just walking around. Spent a lot of time walking around Kolkata. I have a lot of videos on YouTube about this, or just me walking around these cities. And so I want to extend that invitation to other people. I mean, at the end of the day, if there's 5 people and they can afford the journey out of the country, and that's something that they think would help, but they want to do it in like a more secure environment. Like I said, it's hardcore. Like so I was telling my dad about this. He's like, "What are you gonna do if people drink?" And I was like, had to think about it. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm gonna do if we're like on a journey. I mean, I know a guy who went to Arizona, did 9 months in a rehab program, got out, went to his friend's house in Texas because he still didn't think he was ready to come back home. And he ended up he took hand sanitizer and put it through a cheesecloth and drank the liquid that came out. So when that man left his 9 months of like, you know, I don't know if he was at a halfway house or what he was at in Arizona, he wasn't ready. I mean, that's just the end of the story. What? You did 9 months in a halfway house? Because somebody forced him in there. So this has to be voluntary. Like, you have to really want to quit, and maybe even have a month, 2 months of sobriety under your belt. You know, 2 weeks might be the absolute minimum, but even that's like pretty low. Like a month or 2 months of sobriety under your belt, and you want to like solidify your sobriety. We'll go do 30 days, $5,000, and if you have more money, you can then stay. Like you don't come back. You're an adult. You have to be 18 to do this. It might make it 21. And if you want to go on this guided journey, I will take you. I'm not going to be drinking any alcohol, doing any drugs the whole time. And I've already been out of the country. I'm very comfortable leaving. And, you know, every day I wake up and I write my blog. But you can actually, like, hang out with me, ask questions, talk to me. You know, it's like 30 days of people talking to each other, and we're gonna talk about sobriety, but it's not like a super structured environment. It's basically just like doing other things. Like, we're not gonna spend 30 days talking about alcohol and drugs and addiction. We're just gonna go and travel like normal travelers. We're not even gonna tell people that we're there on a sobriety journey. Most likely, you know, we can. I'm not against it. I am very open about talking about my sobriety now because, you know, I'm a different kind of sober. You know, I'm different. In a second here, I'm going to smoke a cigarette. And I'm not really happy about that. Every time I smoke a cigarette, I regret it. But the truth is that I got to choose my battles, you know. I'm not having a drink. And that's the end of the story. I mean, I don't know what else to say. And it's like, you know, for people who are like having a really hard time and they're just like, I can't figure it out. I think one of the problems is that alcohol especially is readily available. Like, if you still know how to call your drug dealer and you still know how to get to the liquor store, that's part of the problem. You know, so I did relocate. You know, I left Wisconsin, I went to Seattle, I went to San Francisco before I traveled the world. You know, and I was drinking for most of the time I was in both of those cities, but not every day, and not waking up and drinking. It was like a struggle, but every once in a while on the weekends I would like fall victim and be like, all right, I'll come out with you guys, you know. So surrounding yourself with like-minded people I think is key, but we don't have to focus on our like-mindedness. We can just be like-minded people, you know. And I'm pretty confident that there's nothing which exists like this. I mean, after 30 days out of the country, your life is going to be different, completely different, for more reasons than just you stop drinking. I mean, your life is going to be different because you're experiencing new things. How many people do you know left the country? less Americans travel than I'd like to admit. Not very many Americans travel. Young people are traveling, you know. But if you're interested, I want to bring you into a secure environment. I'm gonna do everything I can to support you. You know, like you can't drink on the journey, you know, because it will ruin other people's sobriety. And I am pretty hardcore. I mean, I don't know if I'll literally just throw you on a plane, like I said, but I probably will. So if you're scared, you're like, oh, what if I might drink? This is not the trip for you. You have to have confidence that you're not going to drink, but you still want to like solidify your sobriety. You know, like when I went to Asia, I was confident. Like if I drink, I'm probably going to black out and get in a fight with somebody and end up in jail in India, and that is just not an option for me. You know, so it just wasn't an option for me. So I thought I would just talk about that, and you can go to asmr.community/a new kind of rehab. Actually, I think that's directly the link, and read about it. It's October 28th, 2020 is the date that it was published. A new kind of rehab, but each word has a dash in between. And the video of the day is Wildheart ASMR. You know, she's a good ASMR artist. Having problems with the website sometimes, like this video's not loading, and I don't know why. Oh, there it goes. But you know, it doesn't. The program doesn't exist if I don't actually talk about it. But I am 100% ready to leave if you want to go. You know, I'm hanging out. I do my daily blog every day. I'm over here making tie-dye shirts. I do a lot of things, but I like to travel, and if it's for a good reason, and especially like now it would be my job. Like I said, I have to support myself this way. So that would be, you know, it's part of my sobriety journey too. Like I have to travel. I've been in Florida now for like, you know, months and months. But there's no, like, I'm not going to stay here for 20 years. I mean, that's it. You know, it's going to be a while before I park myself in one place for a long time. So traveling is part of my sobriety journey, and that's going to be forever. Like I'm going to keep traveling when I get that bug to travel. You know, I'm not going to drink. Like it's just not an option for me, and I'm not going back to doing drugs. I used to do some other drugs, but I feel like there's a lot of people who are scared of traveling. Like traveling to India was absolutely scary. You know, I bought the plane ticket, and that was easy. You know, buying the plane ticket, and then 4 months later, 6 months later, getting on the plane was like, okay, and we're gonna have to buy tickets early, you know, to get the good prices. I'll help you set up your travel plans, get the visa in place, all this stuff, allocate, you know, figure out where we're gonna go. There's not really gonna be that much of a plan. You just kind of wing it. You know, especially in Thailand. Thailand's a good place. Really easy to travel Thailand, and you can do this by yourself. If you're interested, you're like, oh, you know, I'd rather go by myself. I think I can do it for cheaper, because you will be able to do it for cheaper. You know, drop a comment, or like I said, you can email me at sparktwain@asmr.community, and I'll be happy to answer your questions about traveling, even if it's not a journey you want to take with me. I mean, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions and discuss traveling with you, especially as somebody who did it and didn't drink. So yeah, I just thought that I should bring that program up, and I'm trying to do going live every night. I did it one night, I didn't do it last night. I'm going to try and do it again tonight. I'm going to interview two individuals, Rachel Brown and Anselm Weber tonight. Anselm. I guess I never really thought about it, but I don't think I've ever met anybody with that first name before. I'm going to interview them. They're running for a local Democratic office down here in Florida, so I'm going to interview them tonight. And then after that, I'm going to try and go live. But I'm not gluing myself to going live, because when I put too many things on the schedule, I just crash. But every morning you're going to, or I guess it's the afternoon, depends on where you are. But every day I'm going to put one of these videos on YouTube now, at least talking a little bit, expanding on my blog. I suggest you go and read the blog. It's published every day live at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. and there's a lot of knowledge on there about gaining sobriety, how I do what I do, and overall I'm just trying to inspire people who are like looking for other people that are sober. And definitely it's not going to be like what you find when you go to a meeting or a lot of these other people I meet that are sober. You know, there's a lot of people I meet that are sober that are like me, that are I consider to be living their best lives, but there's a lot of people I think traded in their sobriety for happiness, and it's like you're only going to live once. You know, if drinking makes you happy, that's what you should do, but it doesn't make me happy. I don't want to drink, and every day I choose not to drink, and that's what we're going for. We're going for living your best life. You're going to make the right choices, so I'm going to help you make the right choices. You know, having discussions every day, talking about what I've done, and I'm going to listen to you about your stories, and then, you know, and then after we do 30 days travel and we come back, I'm going to follow up with you for 30 days, just to make sure you're doing all right. But I think that this is the future of sobriety in one sense. Like, definitely taking trips, and you know, people always told me you can't relocate, that won't help. You can't do that alone. You have to do a lot of different things. You know, I like relocated, listen to a lot of ASMR, I smoke weed, go on crazy amounts of walks. You know, I worked at a hostel for a year. There's a lot of different things that I did in concurrence and consecutively to maintain my sobriety. And like now I write a daily blog. That's part of my sobriety journey. Every day I write a daily blog. That's another thing I've written on my blog, is that people who are in their sobriety journeys should film videos. Film a YouTube video. Even on, be like, this is day one, I'm trying to stay sober. And if you fall off the wagon, you film that part too. So other people can see it and you can inspire other people. You know, you have to have a plan for where you're going to be in a year. You know, you have to expect that things are going to go how you want them to go. You don't want to have high expectations because you're going to fall then when it comes to some things. But when it comes to gaining sobriety, you can expect that you will become sober. And I think that's a good mind state to move forward with. You got to want it, and you got to make the choice. It's not as easy as just like forcing yourself into a corner and becoming sober, like forcing yourself to do something and you think that's going to bring you sobriety. You have to want it. You absolutely have to want it, and you have to every day wake up and go, no, I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink. It's just not something that makes me happy. You know, I don't want a cigarette, but I'm still going to have one. And this is complicated. This is the thing I'm dealing with. I do want to smoke weed. I can't afford it right now. But I'm not going to have a drink. I mean, alcohol is what destroys my life. I've never run into a problem as significant as alcoholism. I mean, wow. If I started drinking again, I might not make it to 30. And it's kind of a crazy thing to think about. So it's just not something I can risk, you know. Even though I could drink for another 10 years. I mean, I could get back into it and keep drinking till I'm 45, you know, and, you know, die of liver failure. I don't know, anything could happen. But I don't want that, and so it's a choice. Every single day I wake up and I choose not to drink. And it's tough sometimes. Not the not drinking part, but just the like not having a substitute for unhappiness. You know, like now, like smoking a cigarette's not going to make me happy, but it is just like something I'm going to do. And, you know, I'm biding my time. And eventually I will have, everything takes time. You know, it's not like you're going to quit drinking and immediately find happiness. You've probably lost it. Things take so many years. I mean, I meet people who are my age, and they've been working every day since they were 18, and they're finally at a position in life where they're comfortable. You know, it really depends on how much, you know, I really think it depends on how much knowledge you have, education you have, and assistance you can get from other people. You know, but for a lot of people who are doing this on their own, it's tough. So I want to extend this hand, and these journeys I think are a real thing. They're a really unique thing that could really help people in unique ways. But if I don't talk about it, then it's not going to exist. So I'm talking about it, and if it's something you're interested in, send me that email, sparktwain@asmr.community. We can open up a conversation about traveling the world and staying sober while we're doing it. Have a good day.